My favourite story of all time that I loved hearing when it was passed down to me. It is the DINAWAN and the BROLGA. My story today is about the DINAWAN who thought that she was the best dancer and the fastest of all animals. And she would regularly challenge every other animal to a race or a dance-off. And then she would race them and beat them in the race, and then she would dance and beat them in a dance competition. She would always go down to the waterhole and celebrate by drinking the water. Every time she strolled down to the waterhole, without doubt in the middle of the waterhole, there was the one animal that would never take notice of her and never listen to her. That was the BROLGA. And that would really make the DINAWAN angry. She would screech out every time going down there. And she'd screech at the top of her lungs, "Race me, dance off against me." The BROLGA would never take notice of it. Then she'd walk off in a huff and puff and go and challenge someone else. One day after beating another animal, she came down to the waterhole to celebrate, and she screeched out across the river, "Come and race me, come and dance off against me." The BROLGA, being the BROLGA, not taking notice, this day had enough. It took a big gulp of water, spat the water out, and said to the DINAWAN, "Okay, long legs, squawky neck, I'll race you tomorrow at dusk." Word soon got around to all the other animals that the big race-off would be tomorrow. The one thing that the DINAWAN did not say once she left strutting the rules of the race. The BROLGA smiled and then thought to itself, okay. The DINAWAN just walked off. The next day of the big race came up. Every vantage point was taken around the waterhole. All the animals wanted to see the race-off. The DINAWAN walked up, and the best strut you'd ever seen. Straight to the starting line, squawking, telling everybody that within earshot how good it was and that it was going to beat the only animal that it hadn't beat before, which was the BROLGA. The BROLGA stood in the middle of the waterhole and just made the DINAWAN wait, and then strolled across to the starting line. All the animals waited in anticipation. The starter got up and the gun went. The emu took off like a bat out of hell. Didn't look back until he got halfway around the waterhole, realising that the BROLGA hadn't taken off. And the DINAWAN went with a big wry smile and looked up and said, "I've got this race, it's mine." And the BROLGA just looked around at everyone, smiled, pulled out its wings, and with 3 flaps of its wings flew over the emu's head, around, but it made sure it stopped just before the finishing line. And then strutted, the best strut you'd ever seen, across the finishing line, turned around to the DINAWAN who was just finishing and said, "Never count your eggs before they hatch. There's always someone better."